Good evening. Representatives from Financial Services Regulatory Authority, Mr. Kirby Ogist and Mr. Shilanko Frederick, former President of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Union, former President of the World Council of Credit Unions, and Director of Caribbean Development Education Program, Mr. Melvin Edward, Director on the Board of Caribbean Confederations of Credit Unions, and President of the St. Lucia Cooperative Credit Union League, Mrs. Martina Belize, General Manager of the St. Lucia Cooperative Credit Union League, Mr. Shane Felicier, President of the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Union Cooperative, Mr. Peter Louisi, and the Board of Directors, our esteemed presenters, Mr. Collins Benjamin, Head of Business Development of Everydata of ECCU Limited, and Mr. Omar Butch Smith, Investment Manager for U2C Fund Management Services, General Manager of the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative, Mrs. Shana Isaac, officers and staff of the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative, founding members, past presidents, and past officers of the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative, members of the Education Committee, thrift teachers, and contact persons of the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative, the General Secretary, Ms. Vanetta John, and members of the Executive of the St. Lucia Teachers Union, managers and presidents of sister credit unions, Representative for Capital Finance, Alistair Daniel, General Manager of the Dominica Credit Cooperative League, Mr. Phoenix Belfield, legal representatives of the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative, Mr. George Shalmine and Miss Patricia Augustine, media representatives and other special invited guests, our valued members of the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative. Good evening and welcome. Welcome as we celebrate under the theme, One World Through Cooperative Finance. I am your Mistress of Ceremony, Mistress Nedra Dantes Charles, and with me is my esteemed co-host and master of ceremony, Mr. Neil Fontenelle. Thank you for joining us tonight as we learn, as we engage in insightful conversations, socialize, dance, and have a wonderful evening. To begin, let us approach the throne of grace. When we pray together, we experience God's presence. Matthew 18:20 says, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered together, there I am in their midst." We welcome Miss Laura Joseph as she leads us in prayer.
Good evening to all. The presence of the Lord is here. Could you bow with me, please, as we approach the throne of grace? Loving and eternal God, we are so thankful for bringing us here today. We are thankful for the mercies of the day whereby we labored. We are coming from the north, the south, the east, the west, and your mighty angels have brought us here safely. We say thank you. Oh God, in the mighty name of Jesus, we pray your blood upon this place. We pray that your angels may surround this place and take charge of the proceedings here. Be with each and every one of us in a marked and special way. I pray, oh God, that you be with the different presenters tonight. Touch their hearts, touch our minds, uplift us, oh God, and that the time that is spent here is honorable in your presence. We give you thanks, we give you praise. We say thank you, oh God, for bringing us so far. 40 years of service. It's not because of what we have done or what we possess, but because of your mercies, because of your grace, oh God, we're not consumed. And we say thank you, hallelujah to your name. We thank you, dear Jesus, for taking us from a briefcase to an establishment where we can call our own. We can speak of the millions that we have. Father, we thank you. Again, oh God, I ask that your Holy Spirit surround this place and may the time spent here be a blessed one. We give you thanks and we give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph. Please remain standing for the national anthem led by Mr. Greaves.
Thank you very much, Mr. Greaves, for your customary services with regards to your musical endeavors. Good evening, everyone. You may be seated. Thank you. At this juncture, I would like to invite Ms. Shana Isaac to the stage to deliver the welcome remarks.
Good evening, everyone. please allow me to adopt the protocols already established. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all as we gather here to celebrate International Credit Union Day. Every October, we take the time to recognize the impact that credit unions are making worldwide by supporting local economies and empowering their members to improve their financial wealth. This year's theme, One World Through Cooperative Finance, emphasizes the unity and collective power of credit unions. It reminds us that people from different parts of the world can come together to achieve their financial goals. The St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative Limited celebrated its anniversary this year under the theme, Celebrating 40 Years of Growth and Resilience, the Journey Continues. The Viewford branch will also be celebrating 5 years this Sunday. To commemorate these achievements, a series of activities were planned for our members. This year in particular, we wanted the lecture to be unique, with membership education being at the core of our existence, and this lecture promises to do just that. As we reflect on our collective achievements and look forward to our future, we thank you for being part of this incredible movement with us. This evening is an opportunity for us to continue to strengthen our collaboration, share ideas, and celebrate the true spirit of cooperation that drives us all. Our guest speakers, based on their expertise, will be informative, knowledgeable, and dynamic. We will be reminded that change is inevitable in the industry, and we must embrace it and see it as an opportunity to enhance the financial sector. As always, we live up to our mantra of being the educated choice, as we will be the first in the local industry to bring you this conversation. Thank you for being here tonight, and I know you will have a wonderful evening. Once again, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Isaac, for delivering our welcome remarks this evening. And now we shall go into some entertainment. I'd like to invite Sam Udovic to present, well, he says it's a performance. So, Mr. Sam Udovic for a performance this evening. Where's Sam? Okay, I guess he has something very special in store for us.
The story is being told of a young, vibrant teacher in 2024. He was actively involved in the school life and contributed greatly to the development of his students. But as time went by, this teacher became tired and frustrated and demotivated. He had to admit the truth.
Truth is I'm tired, options are few. I'm trying to pray, but where are you? I'm all churched out, hurt and abused. 'Cause
The tired teacher knew that it was time for a new job, a new start, a new beginning. It was time to move on to greener pastures. He decided that it was time to work for himself, to set his own schedule, work at his own time, to be his own boss. But there was one problem. Where would he get the funding to set up his own business? He went to the First National Bank, but yo pas ni l'argent. Si vous voulez, si vous pas voulez, yo ni pour payer. Si vous voulez, si vous pas voulez, yo ni pour payer. He walked over to Bank of St. Lucia, and it really wasn't all the bank he needed. All they needed was plenty information and documentation signed. Of course, big companies like Massey and Shiriki had given plenty money to Juju, and so they had reached their quota. What was he going to do? He prayed, he begged. Father God, bless me.
When would you bless me? Lord, please let me know. I got a hello, one day gas go blow. Give me anointing, something will go flow. I got a hello, one day gas go blow. So Baba, shower your blessing.
And then it happened. He stumbled upon a brochure by the SLTCC, the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative. Next thing you know, the phone rings, appointment is made, and he was granted a loan to start up his business. With little difficulty, in just 48 hours, the SLTCC granted him the finance needed to achieve his dream and made his life better. And today, the SLTCC continues to create one world through corporate finance. It continues to make our world better.
I used to be so broken, lost, empty. A heart with no beat, a singer with no song to sing. So I know the feeling, the silence is deafening. But in your pain lies a blessing, a sweet and sour victory. So keep walking, walking, walking. though it seems so far. No matter who you are, see, there's one thing that I know. Life, it can leave you so bitter, 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 bitter. You must believe that it gets better, 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 better. It's alright, dry your eyes, send a prayer to the sky. I know it's hard to find, but you must believe that it gets better.
Thank you, Sam, for a very innovative piece, I must say. You know, I couldn't help but feel sorry for First National Bank. I mean, among all the banks in St. Lucia, you know, you mentioned First National, but you know how the Creole saying goes, "Plio canal." I'll leave that there. We'll move on to fraternal greetings. And first up, I would like to call on the Director of Carib DE. I didn't write this. I guarantee you. But let me welcome Mr. Melvin Edward to start off the fraternal greetings. Okay, I got it right.
Good evening. I can't dance like Sam. But it's really great to be here tonight. It's a very significant program. Protocols have been observed. I just want, on behalf of the Carib family, to congratulate the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative for 40 years of being in the business of strengthening and developing people and their livelihoods, your members. Last night at the Cubaril Mount of Prayer, Villa Santa Maria, the Benedictine nuns, we celebrated the 10th gathering of the Caribbees of St. Lucia. And that was a fantastic get-together. But among the people whom we celebrated were three illustrious persons from this credit cooperative: Sherry Ann Cato, Marie Alain, and Veronica Henry, who had completed their Carib projects. And we are very proud of them. We also celebrated the advent to the Caribbean Confederation of the first female from St. Lucia and the second ever director on that board, your own Martina Belizier. And I threatened her that I would not stop until she gets onto the World Council. So this is just the start. But the talent, the capacity, the drive resides within this credit union and within people like Martina. I noted a number of things about this credit union, and I'm regularly here for your annual events. I'm a fan of this credit union. Yep. When I was young, I taught for 2 years. So I also consider myself an educator. This is why Carib D is about development educators. We train. But But your credit union has now joined the family of the $100 million credit unions of this country, 6 of them. And the data at the end of 2023 shows that you were at $123 million in assets, which is a fantastic achievement. Fantastic because even though we don't compare and compete, we say, many a credit union in this country have been around longer than 40 years and have not yet reached that pinnacle of service. But it's not just the assets, it's what you've been doing with the assets. And I'm impressed that 78%, in other words, virtually 80% of those assets are in loans back to you, the members. And I think the leadership, the board, the management ought to be complimented for sustaining this type of performance. But what impresses me most about this credit union is that of the 505,191 members, 2,156 are borrowers. This is not usual in credit unions. Typically, 25%, if you're good, 30% of the members are borrowers. But in this one, 2 of every 5 members are doing business in the sense of loans with your credit union. That's amazing. I want to compliment you on that particular feat and challenge management to continue to make sure that the engagement with your members is such that they do business with your credit union first. Thank you. Have a great night. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Edward. I'd now like to call on the president of the St. Lucia Credit Cooperative Union League, Mrs. Martina Belizer.
Mr. Chair, permit me to adopt the protocol that has already been established. Good evening, everyone. I am here in my capacity as president of the Cooperative Credit Union League, but it would be remiss of me if I do not bring greetings from also the Board of Directors of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions. So let me, on behalf of the CCCU and the St. Lucia Cooperative Credit Union League, bring greetings to the members of the SLTCC on the observance of the 71st anniversary of ICU Day. This is a day that really and truly should not be taken lightly. You are part of such a bigger picture. You are a cooperator and you belong to the worldwide fraternity of cooperators. All across the globe, persons have been celebrating that day. And that is because the credit union model is a unique model, a model that epitomizes resilience. And the SLTCC has weathered the storm of external market forces and even internal, because right now, to remain resilient and to continue to be a going concern, you have to have changes both internally as well as respond to anything on the external part of the organization. So for 40 years, the SLTCC has been able to weather the storms of everything that has been pushed its way. And members, I want to give yourselves a round of applause. I want you to give yourselves a round of applause for that. 40 years of growth and resilience. the theme speaks for itself. So I want to congratulate the SLTCC, my credit union, the Educated Choice, for continuing to make me a proud member, a proud volunteer, and I know we will be there for another 5,000 years. So congratulations, SLTCC, for having yet again your flagship event that is a force to be reckoned with. It can never be duplicated. So congratulations, everyone, and happy International Credit Union Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Belize. I would now like to invite the General Manager of the Dominica Credit Cooperative League, Mr. Phoenix Belfield, to the podium.
Pleasant good evening to all. C'est créole, c'est espagnol. I know the protocol list has been established, but I wanted to highlight very quickly, even if it takes 17 seconds out of my time, Mrs. Belize, representative of the Financial Regulatory Authority, former president of the CCCU, Director of the Board of the Caribbean Confederation, and President of the St. Lucia League, Ms. Belize, General Manager of the St. Lucia League, Mr. Felicien, President of the St. Lucia League, Mr. Peter Louisi. Forgive me if my French is not very good. Esteemed presenters, Mr. Benjamin and Mr. Bert Smith, General Manager of the St. Lucia Cooperative Credit Cooperative, Mrs. Isaac, officers and staff of the credit union, founding members, past president, past officers of the cooperative, members of the education committee, thrift teachers, contact persons of the league, general secretary, managers, presidents, special invitees. I see myself there twice. I'm just kidding. But special invitees, thank you very much for the opportunity to address you. I bring you greetings from your sister island right next door. And we have held very great bonds with the St. Lucia movement. And it always, every time there's an opportunity to engage with the St. Lucia League, St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative, it brings me great honor. And the honor is not just to come into a place and see beautiful smiles, but really to be surrounded by visionary leaders, to be surrounded by people who are focused on interacting and impacting in their communities. People who are member-focused, community-focused, people who are driven by not only the 7 cooperative value, but you idolize the fact that it brings us great joy when our members do well, when dreams are realized. And for that, humanity will thank you. And I think this gathering here is more than just coming together in Burgundy. And by the way, I had to Google, because men are really colorblind. So it is more than a gathering of just Burgundy, black and white. It is really a gathering of minds, a gathering of ideals. And that is why we're here tonight. And from us across the river, or across the sea, as you may say, we look at what St. Lucia is doing. And a lot of things, you're doing great things, some of which were mentioned by my colleague. But for us, every time I come to St. Lucia, it is the warmth. It is how you make your members feel. And I remember a few years ago, I spoke to one of your members and we asked, why is it that you do business with the St. Lucia teachers? And the member said that, listen, because we wanted to know, why would you leave? There's so many products online, you can do the stuff. And they said, listen, when they go into the credit union, it is how they're feeling, how they're made to be feeling, or how they feel when they interact with the officers there. And sometimes it's not what we say to people, it's how we make them feel. And a lot of times we can get so big as an institution and we can forget the core value. Why is it that we started. Why are we here? What are we really working towards? And I'm happy that tonight's focus resonates with that core value. And I think you all deserve a round of applause for that. Come on, clap yourself like you deserve the clap that you're giving to yourself. So from Dominica, I want to bring you greetings from my board of directors, management and staff of the league, and to all of the thousands of supporters that come in here when you have Jazzy Festival and wait for y'all to come over when we have World Creole Music Festival. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Belfield. I would like to now invite the General Manager of the Janou Credit Union, Mr. Celestin Laurent, to present some fraternal greetings.
Good evening, everybody. Let me just make one correction. I'm the Deputy General Manager. I don't want to be out of a job tomorrow. When the ceremony started and we had the gentleman presenting the what do you call it, the Word Alive or whatever, I was a little bit nervous when he started talking about other financial institutions. I was afraid that he'd say Janou, something bad about Janou, but I know that we're among family, and families don't bad talk each other. Yeah, when I'm at the Teachers Credit Union function, and this is my first time here, I feel very comfortable because I see a lot of familiar faces. I come from a family of teachers. Two of my older sisters and one of my younger sisters were teachers for all their lives. I'm talking about 20 years plus. So I feel very comfortable to be here, and I hope my neighbor extends an invitation to me next year, because I want to come back. Last night at Carib DE, we spoke about mergers and acquisitions. And what I wanted to say last night, I'll say it here tonight, because we talk about financials, we talk about opportunities, but we never talk about leadership and familiarity. And mergers and acquisitions start with good conversations, good friendships. So I'm very happy to be seated next to Peter, because Peter is my friend. So when I go, when I call Peter and tell Peter, let's talk about a merger, Peter knows that I'm honest, Peter knows my character, and Peter is more comfortable to talk to me about mergers and acquisitions. We spoke about big credit unions taking over small credit unions, but let's also talk about big credit unions and merging with big credit unions, become bigger credit unions and bigger than banks as well. So we are very familiar with each other. We have customers that serve each other. So there are a lot of commonalities between teachers and Janou. So I want to wish you all the success that is available within the financial services sector. It's a tough sector, but if we journey together and we pull together, the journey is much easier. So all the very best. You have our support, and you have our love, and you have our eternal support. Have a good 40th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Laura. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like your heart is closer to SLTCC. Okay, that rounds up my list of persons for fraternal greetings, but if we missed anybody, I would like you to come up now. You're welcome. Okay, so we have fraternal greetings from the financial regulator of the sector. Can I permit him to speak? Go ahead, sir.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, board members, staff, and valued members of the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative Limited, a warm welcome to each of you. I bring greetings from the management and staff of the FSRA. It is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today as we gather to celebrate and reflect on the impact of cooperative finance in shaping not only our local communities, but also the world at large. The theme, One World Through Cooperative Finance, is both timely and significant. It reminds us that through the collective power of cooperation, we can create a world that is more inclusive, equitable, and sustainable. The core of cooperative finance lies in its ability to uplift individuals and communities by fostering financial security and independence. It is about pooling resources to create opportunities, sharing risks, and working towards common goals. Cooperatives thrive on the principles of democracy, mutual aid, and shared prosperity, values that have never been more relevant than they are today. In an increasingly interconnected world, cooperative finance serves as a beacon of hope. It bridges gaps, builds trust, empowers individuals from all walks of life to contribute meaningfully to society. Whether through offering affordable credit, financial education, or community support, cooperatives play an essential role in creating a brighter future for all. Today, as we look ahead, let us renew our commitment to these values. Let us continue to lead by example, ensuring that through our collective efforts, we bring the vision of one world through cooperative finance closer to reality. I look forward to the inspiring discussions and shared vision that will unfold during today's proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have one more greeting from the representative from the St. Lucia Workers Credit Union. She's Mrs. Charmaine St. Remy, the General Manager of the St. Lucia Workers Credit Union.
Pleasant good evening, everyone. It is truly an honor to be standing here this evening with the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Union, Cooperative Credit Union, celebrating another year of your lecture series that you normally do every year, reminding us that we ought to celebrate International Credit Union Day in style. So I would like to adopt the protocol already established, and on behalf of the St. Lucia Workers Credit Union, its board, management, and staff, let me first wish everyone here Happy International Credit Union Day. This is your day. To the St. Lucia Teachers Cooperative Credit Union, congratulations again on hosting another International Credit Union Day lecture. The attendance here this evening speaks volumes to the success of this event, and I hope that you will continue to do this every single year. Your mantra is the educated choice, so please continue to educate us. Congratulations on 40 years of service to the educators of St. Lucia and their families. You should, as I know you are, be proud of your growth and also the years of resilience that you have shown, notably your relocation to the city center. I am, and I will always be saying this, very excited that we are neighbors. because there is a special place in my heart. I know Celestine said it, but Teachers Credit Union, there's a special place in my heart for this credit union, and it is because of my bond with the leaders of that credit union. I have great respect for them, Mr. Louisy, Martina, Shanna. You know, it is always something very special when, yes, we do business together, but when we could connect on a different level, understanding each other, supporting each other beyond just the business environment. It is something very good, and this is why I love the movement. And I would encourage everyone here this evening to continue to be true to your movement. No matter what is offered on the outside, stay true to your movement. Stay true to the credit union movement. Why? Because we care about you. You matter to us. You matter to your credit union. And I think I can boldly say that your credit union would do all that it can to ensure that you are financially stable and that you grow financially in every aspect of your lives. Your kids' life through education, business, and every other area that you desire to go through. And so tonight, let us celebrate together as one big family because we deserve to. Thank you very much.
Would like to thank our colleagues for the greetings. Let's give them a rousing round of applause. The Teachers Credit Union is blessed to have at the helm a visionary navigator. He gets an A+ in balancing leadership and stewardship. To further welcome our president, I would like to take inspiration from Mr. Sam Yudovic. Please don't judge me as you would judge him. I'm just trying something here. So we're going to start. P, passionate. He leads with passion. E, energetic. Have you seen him on the dance floor? And if you've not, observe him this evening. T, trustworthy. A quality he possesses that's vital for his role. E, he's efficient. His experience and expertise speaks for itself. R, he's resourceful. He's informative and talented. Let us put our hands together for our president, Mr. Peter Louisy.
Margaret? Vive Margaret encore? All right. Now today is International Credit Union Day. It is the feast of one of our flower festival, La Margaret. So the credit union is a Margaret. So vive Margaret? All right. Okay, please allow me to adopt the established protocol, but let me recognize representatives from the Financial Services Regulatory Authority, Mrs. Martina Belize, board member for CCCU, Mr. Melvin Edward, director for CARIBD, our guest speakers, Mr. Benjamin and Mr. Bert Smith, our representative from Dominica, our very good friend from Dominica, Mr. Belfield, our esteemed members, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Okay, I'm a very old teacher. I like very busy classroom. Good evening, esteemed cooperators and friends. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for your invaluable support in commemorating this significant occasion, International Credit Union Day 2024. Your presence is a testament to our collective commitment to this vital observation. This year's International Credit Union Day lecture, hosted by the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative, marks its 12th year and continues to flourish. Notably, this event consistently attracts the highest attendance, for which we are profoundly grateful. The St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative has successfully engaged local, regional, and international speakers who generously share their insights and perspective with our members. Once again, we are privileged to have with us knowledgeable facilitators in the persons of Mr. Collins Benjamin and Mr. Omar Bert Smith, who will discuss topics of critical importance to the movement and relevance to our members' financial futures. There is a well-known saying, knowledge is power. Our focus on this lecture underscores SLTCC's mandate to uphold the fifth principle of the cooperative identity, which emphasizes education, training, and information. In an increasing competitive financial landscape characterized by advanced technologies, the advent of artificial intelligence, and new policy frameworks and legislation, it is imperative that credit unions remain vigilant to ensure their survival. Therefore, the Board of Directors is firmly committed to equipping our members with the necessary information to facilitate and inform them on financial decisions. Alphonse Desjardins, a pioneer of the Canadian credit union movement, articulated a profound perspective in a speech delivered in the early 1900s. He stated, and I quote, "A credit union is not an ordinary financial concern seeking to enrich its members at the expense of the general public. Neither is it a loan company seeking to make a profit at the expense of the unfortunate. The credit union is nothing of this kind. It is the expression in the field of economics of a high social ideal," end of quote. Additionally, other pioneers have noted the following principles. 1, keep purpose constant. 2, we're on an ever-changing path in our credit union, but with a never-changing purpose. And 3, the cooperative principles and the credit union philosophy needs to be your compass. As we convene on this important day, I urge you to reflect on these powerful words from our forebearers. We must contemplate whether we are operating in accordance with the true spirit of the credit union movement. Today, the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Union proudly celebrates International Credit Union Day under the chosen theme, One World Through Cooperative Finance. This theme serves as a reminder for us to unite as a cohesive force within the non-profit movement. Credit unions embody values of love, peace, and unity among members and other sister organizations. I am confident that these values are firmly rooted within the SLTCC, for we are concerned about the welfare of our members. Moreover, the theme resonates with our credit union logo, featuring the hands, family, and the globe, symbols that represent credit unions worldwide. This emblem transcends language barriers, and it shows the essence of our cooperative spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, we must always remember the significance of our logo, which we proudly display on every credit union building and associated materials. Let me reiterate the profound symbolism it embodies. The globe, representing the international network of credit unions. The four silhouettes, symbolizing the family of mankind working for the mutual benefits of all. The hands, signifying self-help nature of credit unions dedicated to promoting the well-being of all members. All credit unions are on a remarkable journey. And I repeat, all credit unions are on a remarkable journey, one that strives for the betterment of all its members. This year, the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative, the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative, is particularly elated to celebrate our 40th anniversary under the theme, 40 years of growth and resilience, the journey. 40 years of growth and resilience, the journey. The SLTCC has encountered numerous challenges and difficult periods. While the journey has not been easy, it has been both exciting and rewarding, deserving of commendation for our resilience. As we celebrate this International Credit Union Day, I wish to highlight some of the significant accomplishments that have characterized this journey. 1, transforming from homelessness to owning our new building, costing over $3.5 million. 2, growing our membership from 57 members to over 5,000 members. 3, increasing our assets from $1,857 to over $120 million. 4, expanding our staff from zero to 20 full-time employees. 5, increasing our loan size. You could only get $3,000, but now you can get $500,000 or more. 6, evolving from conducting business after school and on Saturdays to offering full-time office hours. 7, progress from updating of passbooks to online banking. And the only persons who get passbooks are persons who are over 60. And I fall in that category. 8, establishing a full-time office in Vieux Fort. And this month, in fact, this week, the Vieux Fort branch will be celebrating their 5th anniversary. Congratulations to Team Vieux Fort. And the list goes on and on and on. This is the journey that we have taken. Indeed, what a remarkable journey we have navigated. 40 years of growth and resilience. The journey continues. Good. Tonight, I would like to pay special tribute to our founding members. And I see quite a number of them around. And both living and deceased, who embarked on this formidable journey. I wish to particularly acknowledge one of our foremost pioneers, our first president, Mr. Robert Augustine. Mr. Augustine, just stand. Okay. He was the captain of the ship, and he set the foundation. And we have other team members. I see Mr. Sylvester Philip around, Mr. Boulogne around, our past president, Ms. Clara Drysdale, also Ms. Bernice Clements, Ms. Anne, Angela Charles at the time. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the team that started the process. Also, I think I see her around. She's around, you know. Mrs. Wicks is around. Monica Wicks. It's Monica Wicks. Good. To all our current and past officers, your invaluable contribution have kept the credit union narrative alive at SLTCC. And I want to, this evening, I want all my directors, officers, and staff, please stand. Director Bailey says stand. She's our first vice president. And put your hands together. And there is a lady, there's a lady I want to acknowledge. I want to acknowledge Mrs. Dedra Biscom. And she was our first employee. This was the only staff member that we had at this time. Good. Members, you are the heartbeat of SLTCC. Your enthusiasm and loyalty drive our journey forward. Let us celebrate every moment and every milestone. May you have a very informative and stress-free evening and continue making SLTCC and continue making SLTCC. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Mr. Luigi. I'm already beginning to learn. I did not know we were La Marguerite, so vive La Marguerite. All right. An individual once said, without music, life would be a mistake. I'm not sure we all agree with this statement, but one thing I know we agree with, we do not want to make any mistakes tonight. So I would like to call on Ms. Shan Lucien as she speaks to us in the universal language of mankind, music. And Ms. Shan Lucien is a teacher and the reigning carnival queen.
Have you ever reached a rainbow's end? Well, did you find your pot of gold? Ever catch a shooting star? Tell me, how high did you soar? Ever felt like you were dreaming just to find that you're awake, and the magic that surrounds you will lift you up and guide you on your way? I can see it in the stars across the sky. Dreamt 100,000 dreams before I finally realized. You see, I've waited all my life for this moment to arrive, yeah. And finally, I believe in the impossible. If I reach deep within my heart, yeah, overcome any obstacle, won't let this dream just fall apart. You see, I strive to be the very best, shine my light for all to see, yeah, 'cause anything is possible when you believe. Oh, dreamt 100,000 dreams before I finally realized. You see, I've waited all my life for this moment to arrive, yeah. And finally, I believe. I said I believe. Oh, whoa, love keeps on lifting me higher. Love keeps on lifting me higher. You gotta see it for yourself. Keeps on lifting me higher. Love keeps on lifting. Love keeps on lifting me higher. Higher, higher, higher. Ooh. Love keeps on lifting me higher, higher. Thank you.
And Miss Lucien is also the JC's what? JC's queen? Right. But I know it's a big deal. It's huge. So congratulations. And definitely we can understand why she is the reigning carnival queen. That kind of voice. And she also plays the piano. I just understood it was a little too heavy to carry onto the stage. But next time. Now, this evening's guest speakers will be participating in an interview-style discussion. And that will be moderated by, okay, something tells me I need glasses. Mrs. Natalie Julie Fanes is the moderator, and she will be introducing our guest speakers. I think you may need this microphone as well. Mr. DJ, do you have another microphone? Or? Oh, you have two. Okay, fine, perfect.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So we're changing up things a little bit, and we're going to have what we call more of a fireside chat. So let me invite our two guest speakers, Mr. Omar Birch-Smith and Mr. Colin, to take their seats here, and I will introduce them in a bit. So I guess you're going to hear us more than see us. Are people having issues seeing us? And we thought we had tested this right and we could see you from here. I'm not sure how much we can change this setup. So let's see how we can make it work with the engagement. So welcome to our interview segment as we celebrate the 40th anniversary for the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative. They're making it bigger and better. As educators, we recognize the importance for us to be knowledgeable, for us to understand the impact of borrowing, what it means now to have a credit score, for us to understand about investment, how to make our money multiply. And this is what our guests are going to be doing this evening. So on your program, you would see the name Mr. Van Renders. Let me offer apologies for him. He has fallen ill, but he will be capably replaced by Mr. Colin Benjamin. And I will just read a short bio for Mr. Benjamin. For over 3 decades, Colin Benjamin has been a leader in the telecoms, fintech, and financial sectors, both regionally and internationally. With a deep understanding of the sub-region, he is dedicated to adapting first-world applications to meet regional needs, enhancing the consumer experience, and making it easier to do business in our part of the world. Currently, Mr. Benjamin serves as the head of business development at Everydata ECCU Limited, the only central bank licensed credit bureau, where he is managing the onboarding of over 100 institutions onto the credit bureau platform. Mr. Benjamin lives in Antigua and Barbuda with his wife and 2 children and made it here in a matter of with hours' notice. So, Mr. Benjamin, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us this evening. And I take it that we are one of the 100 institutions that you are onboarding?
Indeed.
Okay, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. Our other guest this evening is Mr. Omar Birch-Smith, and he is the Regional Collective Investment Scheme Manager for Unit Trust Corporation Fund Management Services, STL Limited, who possesses over 17 years progressive banking and finance experience. Mr. Birch-Smith provides leadership to the fund management company for UTC Global Balance Fund Limited, the first retail mutual fund in the ECCU. He recently served as county manager at First Citizens Investment Services Limited, St. Lucia, where he was senior principal in the OECS for the organization and led a team of investment and finance professionals responsible for providing investment solutions to clients and brokerage services to governments and other private and public sector institutions. He also served as Business Development Manager at FCIS, where he was responsible for the development, generation, and coordination of new businesses in the Eastern Caribbean. And prior to joining First Citizens, he served as a Corporate Relationship Manager at Bank of St. Lucia for 7 years. He also recently served as the Chairman of the Inner Working Group of OECS Brokers and the General Secretary of the St. Lucia Bankers Association. Mr. Bert Smith holds a BSc and MSc in Banking and Finance from the University of the West Indies and Cave Hill campuses, respectively. Welcome, Mr. Bert Smith.
Thank you.
So we will start off by speaking about the up-and-coming credit bureau. I'm sure many of you have been hearing about that. And if you have traveled to the US or you have family in the US, you hear about having a credit score, yes? Sounds a little bit intimidating, huh? We're a little bit worried. We like to do things our traditional way, you know, our family. We just walk into the SLTCC and we're not sure what procedure they use now, but they check our utilities, our this, our that, and then they grant us a loan, and that's it. We're happy with that, aren't we? But Mr. Benjamin is here to tell us that is changing. So, Mr. Benjamin, let us start back. First, you are from Everydata. I'm not sure we're familiar with that name. Tell us more about Everydata.
Yes, but before I do that, please allow me to say thanks. Thanks for the warm welcome from yourself and for the welcome that I've received from several of the speakers here this evening. I'm very delighted to be here and be part of this gala event, and I'm happy to be part of the education process and hopefully to demystify the credit score and credit reports. But let me answer your question now. Everydata. Everydata is a private company that is the only licensed credit bureau in the ECCU, the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union region. Our headquarters is in Jamaica. We've been in Jamaica for about 15 years. We've been in Guyana for about 12 years, in Barbados since 2019, and we've launched here in the ECCU 2 years ago. The headquarters is in Antigua and Barbuda, and we have a staff complement of 2 right now, hoping to make that a little bit more, given the volume of work that is involved. So that's it. That's a little bit about Everydata.
So essentially, you will be responsible for all of the islands in the Eastern Caribbean. OECS?
Yes. All the islands from Anguilla all the way down to Grenada. Over 100 financial institutions in all we expect to onboard onto the Credit Bureau platform. Now, the Credit Bureau, the Credit Bureau initiative, I must stress, is an initiative from the central bank. We have just been licensed by the central bank to implement this Credit Bureau initiative.
Thank you for that explanation, but we're still wondering, why is this absolutely necessary? Why is it that the processes that have been used in the past are not sufficient?
Yeah, well, most stable financial systems throughout the world have a credit bureau as part of the ecosystem. Let me just make that clear. And I'm told that for about 15 years, we've been trying to implement one here in the ECCU. There are many benefits for a credit bureau here in St. Lucia and in the Eastern Caribbean. So let me just simplify it because we have limited time. The credit bureau is a solution to a problem that we face here in the Eastern Caribbean. So let me just put the scenario to the members here. Just imagine that a member comes down from Dennery to your office here in Castries, that is the SLTCC, and asks for a loan. She wants a loan to purchase a vehicle, $100,000 perhaps. Now, the credit officer, the loans officer who's dealing with this member, needs to find out some information about her. Is she exposed in terms of having loans elsewhere with other credit unions, other microfinance organizations, other banks? The only way of really finding out is to inquire of these other organizations. Now in St. Lucia, there are about 10 banks and non-banking financial organizations like Capita Finance, Sagico, etc. About 10. Then you have 16 credit unions. And then on top of that, you have the microfinance organizations, the micro-lending organizations. So there are over 30 institutions. So can you imagine this loans officer now sending emails, letters, whatever, you're trying to communicate with 30-something different organizations to find out more about this member? It'll take forever. In fact, I'm told that many just do not respond. It can take weeks to find out about this person. And so what tends to happen is that monies are dispensed, loans are given or not given, but it takes so long. The credit bureau would replace that credit check-in process. What could take weeks could now be down into seconds. So let me leave it there for now, just to show the initial benefit of the credit bureau.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. So I think the additional thing that we would want to know, so based on those investigations that are done, then a credit score is allocated to the member. How is that done?
A credit score is essentially a numeric value put to the credit worthiness of an individual. So when you see a score, so for example, let's look compared to school, your child comes home with an A. You kind of have an idea right away that that child did very well. B, okay, they did okay, room for improvement. C, perhaps they just merely passed. You see 95%. You know they did very well. 40%, they failed. And it's similar with the credit score. If you see a very high score, 900, it means that that person is doing very well. They're low risk. If you see a low score, it means that it's a high risk person. Yes, you can treat with both of them, but on different terms. So that's the score. And the scorecard comes from little bits of information, variables, put into what you could perhaps call a scoring algorithm. The age of the person, what contracts they currently have with other financial institutions, the mix of the credit. Is it credit card? Is it mortgage, vehicle loans? What's the balance on the credit card? All these little variables come together and into the mix to create that score.
How would the Bureau obtain that kind of data?
Yes, so I'd said before that the Credit Bureau would help to replace the existing credit check process, where a loans officer would have to be calling around to 30-something different institutions to get information, credit-related information only, not deposit information, just credit-related information from a data subject. So the legislation, the Credit Reporting Act of St. Lucia legislation, refers to the members who borrow as data subjects. So how do we, as a credit bureau, obtain that information of the data subject? We get it from the financial institutions. Under the legislation, Credit Reporting Act of St. Lucia, licensed financial institutions, such as banks, non-bank financials, and credit unions and microfinance organizations are obligated to share credit-related data with the Bureau. So it's an obligation under law. So that is how we would get that information. So we act as a repository, a sort of database, if you were, of that information. And under law as well, we are mandated to protect it.
So therefore, who would be privy to that information?
Only authorized users. So banks, non-bank financial institutions, credit unions, MFIs, microfinance institutions, they could be authorized users, and most likely they will be. So the loans officer to whom I referred earlier would most likely be an authorized user. They would be given credentials, passwords, usernames, etc., to access this data. And even when they do access it, they have, under law, should have permissible purposes, a reason why they're checking for this data. And most importantly, they must have consent, a signed consent of the data subject, of the member. So members out there, if you go to get a loan from any one of the financial institutions here in St. Lucia, and they want to check your credit history through the credit bureau, they must get your explicit signed consent. That is one way of protecting the data.
Would the person themselves have access to that information? Would you be able to see know your credit score?
But yes, that's an interesting question. Yes, so yes, members, you would also have the ability to check your own credit score or your credit report. The legislation, the Credit Reporting Act of St. Lucia, and let me just make it clear that this Credit Reporting Act of St. Lucia is identical to all the credit reporting acts of the other 7 jurisdictions in the ECCU. And under that legislation that's piloted, sponsored by the central bank, drafted by the various governments, the data subject, the member, the borrower, every single consumer should be able to get 1 free credit report annually. You're entitled to 1 free credit report. You can get this through the credit bureau. And then you can check your own score. In fact, we encourage you to do so when that time comes around.
Can you improve your credit score?
Can you improve it?
Yes.
Oh, yes, certainly. So even now, before the credit bureau is instituted here in St. Lucia, still a few months away before it really goes live, we encourage individuals to ensure that they make payments, pay on time. That is primarily the best way to improve your credit score. Pay on time. What we have discovered, a benefit that you here at the SLTCC would see, is that once it is announced that there will be a credit bureau launched in St. Lucia, that almost instantaneously you would see a change in behavior. Collections, it becomes easier to collect. People want to have a good credit score and a good credit report, and so people start to come in and pay. And I encourage you, and I speak of myself, we're all going to be consumers benefiting from the credit bureau, that we should pay our bills on time. It's a good habit to have.
So in terms of how the SLTCC will function now, when the credit bureau, how will it affect them? How will it change some of the procedures?
Yeah, so the SLTCC and all other credit unions and other financial institutions would see the need to maybe make some adjustments in their credit granting and policies. So for example, they may want to now implement a credit score, the checking of a credit report before granting credit. If a person they may want to move to risk-based lending. Traditionally, we are a collateral-based lending community here in the Eastern Caribbean. So, you must have something to put up when you borrow. And there's nothing wrong with that. That will continue. But with the credit bureau around and with data there, the science involved now, we actually know, have information on the individuals. The organizations such as the SLTCC may then want to say, listen, if you are a high-risk customer, we give you better terms, maybe low interest rate. Maybe we allow you to borrow more because you're a low-risk customer, right? I might have said high-risk, but if you're a low-risk customer, then your terms could be better. One of the benefits that would be seen is the speed at which you can now offer loans. And also the cost of credit will drop. Why? Because before, the credit officer would be waiting there 3-4 weeks to get back information from the organizations. And in fact, some people may never come back. They may take the loan at another organization. And you still have to pay the 20 staff that I think, 20, that still have to pay them, although they may just be waiting. Now, with the credit bureau implemented, the SLTCC would see now a faster turnaround of loans, the reduction in time, reduction in cost of credit, and overall a reduction in NPLs, non-performing loans, which I'm sure they want to see. And then the benefit of these cost savings is now that the dividends, they could be now benefit to you, the members, the owners. You could hopefully see a rise in dividends.
It seems like there are quite a few benefits, both for the teachers' credit cooperative as well as the members.
Yes. I didn't mention the members, and permit me to just mention some of the direct benefits. Now, there's some subjectivity sometimes in lending, where depending on how you look, you may not get a loan. Or depending on if you bring a briefcase with you and how you dress up, you may get a loan. There's a lot of subjectivity in lending. But with the credit bureau and a credit report now, in the loan granting policy, then each loan officer would have to justify to their supervisor why a loan was given. They should be able to pull out a report and say, well, this is the reason why we were able to give the loan. The person or the member who comes in now will benefit because they'll have easier access now to affordable credit. And let me break that down. They will have easier access to affordable credit. Now, there is easy access to a certain extent to credit, not just in St. Lucia, but across the region, with the microfinance organizations. They give you easy access, but the credit really is not affordable, 30%, 35%. But with the credit unions now being able to provide credit faster with the cost reduced now, then the credit now becomes affordable.
So given all of that and all the research that has been done, the fact that it has existed elsewhere, what is the likely rollout time within the Eastern Caribbean and particularly in St. Lucia?
All right, so St. Lucia was the last country to sign the legislation, last month actually, in September. Mind you, some of the other islands had signed since 2017. But do not be dismayed. We have been working, even though the legislation wasn't signed, we have been working with some of the banks here already and some of the credit unions. SLTCC was, I think, the second, if not the first, to sign up, and we thank them for that. I think that was the educated choice. So one of the unique things we noticed with St. Lucia is that most of the credit unions here use one particular vendor, core vendor. And through the CCU, we've been able to do some negotiations with this vendor to make a credit bureau module fast-tracked. So there's a possibility that we could see the credit unions here in St. Lucia on the credit bureau platform faster than even some of the other islands. In fact, there is a very strong possibility there. And then we have some of the banks that we are working with already. So by February, I answer your question, we're hoping to see the bureau go live here in St. Lucia. It may sound like a far away, but it's actually quite close when you bear in mind that during Christmas time, nothing really takes place. So we're aiming for February.
Thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin. I know you have some questions for Mr. Benjamin, but we're going to go to our next guest, and then we will have our question and answer. So we moved now to Mr. Omar Burt-Smith. And this is going to benefit you as well. So now you know how to have a good credit score, and you know how the credit bureau is going to work for you. But the other thing that you need to be able to do is multiply your money. And we seem to have a guru in investment here. It seems though, not just teachers, but St. Lucians generally, we don't really understand investment. We put our money in the credit union. Is that good enough? Just to save it?
So, good evening, everyone. Just scanning the room to see if I see any former teachers of mine, making sure they don't ask me to leave. I see some former classmates, though, so they might. Thanks for that question, and thanks for having me, SLTCC. It feels so much like family. I thought I was a member of the credit union during the opening speeches. Is saving your money in the credit union a good thing? Absolutely. Right? It's always good to have savings. Savings are necessary for any unforeseen circumstances, right? It's good to have money put aside for the things that you want to do in the future. So saving is key. Saving is key. Everybody should save. Everybody should have enough money saved. Everybody should have what are known as emergency accounts in case there's unforeseen illness or a break in employment, right? Is saving only ideal? I would say no, right? And primarily because we're lucky in the ECCU because we still benefit from a minimum savings rate, right? That 2% that the banks give us, and I think some of the credit unions also guarantee. Throughout the world, that has ended, right? And that's why the rest of the world has outpaced the OECS in graduating from savings to investing. So you save because savings is the process of accumulating funds for some future use, right? And you invest to grow your money, also for some future use, but further down the road, right? So today is October 17th. Next month, a few of you will be soaking your fruits for your fruitcake. You won't invest to do that, right? You may take $200 from your credit union to buy your extra raisins, prunes, whatever else. If you're looking down the road, however, and you're thinking of, I have a daughter that needs to go to university in 10 years. I want to build an apartment in 5 years. I want to build my home in 3 years. That's when you have to start thinking investment. Because here's what's happening. Historically in St. Lucia, well, for years we were lucky. We had 3% inflation, right? And it's 9:15. I don't want to bore you with fancy terms, but inflation is really the measurement of how prices increase. So something that cost $100 last year would cost $103 this year.
More like 120.
Right. So following the pandemic, we started seeing inflation of 9 and 10% per annum, right? Depending on where you go. Some people might say inflation at Massey is different, but we're not demonizing banks and we're not demonizing Massey. But yeah, what's happening is because of the rate of inflation, the value on our savings is actually dropping. So if you're looking at 20% over the last 3 years, right now, simple interest, if you had $100 in the bank, over the last 3 years, simple interest, you would have earned $6. But what costs $100 in 2021 costs $120 now. You've actually lost $14 of your wealth, right? So when we think about wealth preservation, some of you are, well, most of you here are teachers, some of you are civil servants who will retire at 55, and you may live till 80. and you're thinking of a savings account or a pension, when at the current pace, goods might cost 300% more or 3 times more than what they cost now, you need to start saving. You need to start investing, sorry. Yep.
But I'll challenge you for us who are not used to that, not even just the term, we know the term, what does it mean to invest and how do you invest?
Yeah, so we use the term very loosely in our neck of the woods. One thing I always say, and I gave a talk yesterday in St. Vincent and I explained, investing is really the process of putting money into a specific vehicle that does 2 things, right? It does 2 specific things. It must grow in value over time, and it must pay a level of return, right? Now, a lot of us here are investing because we buy shares in the credit union, and we get our dividends, and they grow in value over time. So a lot of us have started.
That's a form of investment.
Yes.
In shares.
Yeah. A lot of us have invested in apartments. That's a form of investment. Why? The value of your home is increasing and you receive rent. I asked the question yesterday, it's always controversial, and I'll ask tonight. If somebody comes to you and says, Natalie, buy this piece of land here. It's selling at $10 a square foot now. But in 5 years, it might be $15. You might say, okay, I'll make $5 a square foot in 5 years. Is that an investment? The answer is no, because it's largely speculative. I'm not saying land isn't an investment. What I'm saying is the proposition in front of you is largely speculative because you don't know for certain that the value will grow and there's no income being generated. So we have to be careful when assessing what an investment actually is and whether what we're doing is actually an investment. Because some of us do invest, but what you may find is what you've invested in might be depreciating in value. It might be losing value, right? So some of us, you might do a car rental or you might invest in a minibus or some taxi. These generate revenue, but the asset is depreciating. It is still an investment, but you have to ensure that you're retaining enough of your earnings so that you can reinvest in a new asset. So these are some of the things that you must know. Now, how to go about the process of investing. So investing can seem difficult because typically in our neck of the woods, it seemed out of reach to the everyday man. But there are ways to go about and simply to go about understanding how they work, right? There's a lot of literature online. There's a lot of literature everywhere that you go. You might see it on social media, on traditional media, and it might be confusing. In the Caribbean, we actually have a few firms that provide investment advice. They have licensed investment advisors. They will guide you through the process, because the first thing you need to understand if you want to start investing is, what is my risk tolerance? How much risk am I needing to take? Am I willing to take? Sorry, that's number one. Number two, you need to ask yourself, well, what am I investing for? Am I investing for 20 years down the line? Am I investing for 10 years? Am I investing for 1 year? That would determine the type of investment product that you go into. We all know the saying, the higher the risk, the higher, right? And the higher the return, the higher, right? So what we always tell folks is, if you're younger and you have a little more time and you have the ability to earn income, you have more of an ability to earn income than someone who's older, maybe you can take a little more risk. If someone has just retired and say they're age 60 and can still dance like Mr. Louisi, we may not recommend something that carries too much risk, because at that age you have little time left to earn more income. So these are the conversations that you'd have with an investment advisor and an investment professional like myself to really guide you through the process.
But can you speak to some of the products that exist locally that persons can invest in, some investment products? Yeah,
so a lot of people aren't aware that we actually have a thriving Eastern Caribbean securities market. We have an Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange. It's located in St. Kitts. There are 14 listed stocks that trade on that exchange. In addition to that, we have bonds and treasury bills. These are fixed income instruments. I'm not going to go into the details of how these products work, but they offer a steady level of return. And now we have mutual funds, which is what I do. And mutual funds are a beautiful product, an ideal product for someone who's just getting started in investments. So our market is growing in terms of the product offering. Folks have options, and you have advisors that can guide you through the process on whether this product really works for me or it doesn't.
And when you speak about, you speak on the individual level, but as members of the credit union as well, are there things that our cooperative can do to help us with investments?
Oh, I love that question. So when I was at First Citizen, I worked with a number of the credit unions. They do a good job at investing excess liquidity, because the primary mandate of the credit union is for the growth and development of their members. So your primary focus is loans, and that continues to do well, but any excess liquidity is invested. So some of the members may not be aware, but your credit union does invest, and they do earn additional interest or revenue that drives the growth of your shares. From the perspective of investment securities, this is an important development, because what has happened is there's been a change in the legislation now that will allow credit unions to apply for a broker-dealer license. What is a broker-dealer license? It's the license that actually allows you to sell securities. So credit unions very soon, I don't think any in the region has, but I know there's one in Grenada who have started the process, can apply for a broker-dealer license with the regulator, the Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission, and they can actually start to sell investments to their members. So you might say, well, credit unions don't necessarily get involved in things that they don't know, but you have to change that mindset, because what's happening is your membership will get younger. If you can order clothes on your phone, you're going to need financial services that match that level of convenience as well. PwC wrote an article last year. In America, what's happening is a lot of millennials and Gen Zs who are accustomed to using their phone to do everything, their parents are dying and they're inheriting millions of dollars, in some cases billions of dollars, and they're demanding the same level of service, the same ease of technology with their financial services to manage those monies, right? So what's going to happen very soon in our region, because more adults have had life insurance, they've planned for their ultimate demise, younger people are going to be coming into estates, and they're going to demand that their credit union, because you don't want to say, well, right now I'm a teacher, I earn a salary and I invest in the credit union, but then I get a windfall from life insurance or from something else, and a property I inherited that I sold, and now I have to leave the credit union because they can't offer me the products and services that I demand. That's in keeping with my way of life. So it's critical that credit unions, and they now have the ability to diversify their product offering. So that doesn't only benefit the members, but it also benefits the bottom line of the credit union, because you earn a commission on what you sell, and it redounds to the benefit of the shareholders, who are the members.
Put in perspective for us, as we spoke about the difference between investment and savings, financial planning, and we have a range of members here. We have young members, we have more mature people, especially as it relates to what your company offers in terms of the value that it will bring in our financial planning. Just give us a sense of what it is it means to plan for our futures, and that will, if you can, span the spectrum of the age groups that we have here.
Yeah, so I'll try my best. The process of financial planning, again, that's a term that can intimidate, right? But it's really not as involved or as difficult as it seems, because we're engaged in it all the time, right? But what the formal process of financial planning is, it's really taking a holistic view of everything in your life, right? So a 20-year-old,
Somebody listening to the live, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. A 20-year-old or a 20-year-old, let's say anybody between the ages of 20 to 40, you now getting started at the peak of your career, you may be, what's in front of you might be a marriage, owning your first piece of property, starting to invest and starting to save, right? One of the critical things that folks at that age need to also look at, and that we kind of overlook until we get older, are products such as health insurance as well as life insurance. Because as you get older, these things get more expensive, right? So while we're young and our responsibilities are less, we may spend a little more on discretionary items. And that's really a choice that you make. I don't demonize the choices that people make. Once you plan for it and you can afford it, it's entirely up to you. As you get older, however, your focus may shift, right? Because you're now planning for retirement. You start to think to yourself, well, how many more paychecks do I have left? If you're 5 years away from retirement, you have 60 paychecks left. Recently, I did an interview on the radio, and the radio DJ was telling us that a colleague of his, another DJ, had earned over $1 million in 8 years, and all he had to show for it was a broken down car, because as the money came, it went out. So as you get into your 40s and you're moving closer to retirement, you don't want to be in that position, right? You need to start looking for estate services. It doesn't matter what you have, get a will in place, right? On the investment side, and this is where I'll do my shameless plug and start talking about my company. Yes. So the UTC Global Balance Fund, we're a subsidiary of the Unit Trust Corporation out of Trinidad and Tobago. Unit Trust Corporation has been in existence for 42 years, currently manages over 10 billion EC in funds under management, largest mutual fund operator. And what the government in Trinidad in 1982 did, remember I mentioned that minimum savings rate earlier, once that was discontinued, Trinidadians needed a way to invest and to earn something on their money. So they launched the mutual fund, and that way they were able to bring access to international capital markets. In our region, we've had legislation to regulate mutual funds since 2001. So Colin is doing much better than us. He got his legislation passed in 2017, and he's already live and up. We got legislation for mutual funds in 2001, and the first one was launched by us in 2023, right? And what we're aiming to do is to bring investments to every man on the street, give every man the opportunity to invest. Because when you invest, you think, well, what that's bourgeois thing? I need big money for that, right? To buy a share in our mutual fund, it's $100 US, right? And any and everybody can invest. It's as simple as opening a bank account. What am I really talking about though? So you invest in a mutual fund like ours. How mutual funds work is, it's sort of similar to the credit union movement because it's a collective. But think investments and not savings and loan. So what we do is we pool the funds. If every one of you in here gave me $100, right, I would leave with $5,000. As the professional fund manager managing the fund, we invest in securities, and you benefit from the returns, right? And over time, these returns, they compound, right? And the value of your shares increase, and the value of your wealth increases over time. I can go a lot more in depth in terms of the product, but
so
to you.
I'm coming to you after this question. Very often people are afraid to invest the money because of crashes, etc. What kind of protection is in place to give people that confidence for investing?
Yeah, so before I get to the protections, it is very important that, and I said it earlier, that you have conversations with licensed investment professionals to understand what the potential risk of any investment are. It's very important to understand what the potential risks are. In terms of our product, our mutual fund is licensed by the sole regulator for securities in the Eastern Caribbean, the Eastern Caribbean Central Securities Depository. And they're located in St. Kitts on the same campus as the central bank. The assets of the fund are held with an independent custodian, the Eastern Caribbean Central Securities Depository, and they hold all the assets. So all the stocks, bonds, cash, all the assets of the fund are held with an independent custodian. And that's a protection that's in the law, and it's required by law. And there's a new investment funds bill, but that protection is still in the law, so it will remain. Because our regulator recognizes that in order to grow the securities market, and it is a mandate of ours, in America, 2 out of every 5 people is invested in the stock market. In the OECS and in St. Lucia, it's 1 out of 25. And our governor, well, the governor of the central bank, he set a mandate to get 1 in 3 people invested in our securities market. And that's probably going to be achieved by people buying mutual funds. So there are quite a few protections in place, but I'll speak beyond just mutual funds. Some of us invest in bonds, some of us invest in treasury bills. If you buy a Government of St. Lucia bond, you need to pay attention to economic and social review. You need to listen to the budget address, find out what the policies are. You need to watch the news, right? Because it's very important. So you need to stay abreast with your investments. If you invested in a share in a company, if you're a shareholder, every year you need to go take a look at the annual report. You may not understand financial statements. You can call your broker to ask, or you could just look at certain key metrics. What's the profitability like? What's the balance sheet looking like? Has equity gone up? These are some of the things that will ensure that a crash is unlikely.
Quite a bit of an education here, but I want to let you know that we have 2 mics placed in the middle of the room at either end, and we are happy to take your questions now, both for Mr. Butch Smith with the investment talk that he has been giving us here, as well as Mr. Benjamin on the Credit Bureau. So I turn it over to you, our audience, for questions. And feel free to move to the mic. I see somebody volunteering.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My question is to Mr. Benjamin. You indicated that financial institution might take an ordinate amount of time to do a credit check on a customer, whereas the credit bureau will do that within hours, I guess, or within days. I've been wondering, is it a case where the bureau has a database on customers who have credit with financial institution and they update that information regularly? Or is it a case when a financial institution makes a request, you start your investigation?
Yes, it's because we would have got that information from the financial institutions. Under the legislation, all financial institutions that offer credit in St. Lucia are required to share on at least a monthly basis credit-related data from their institution. So we would have that information right in our database so that when it is queried by the loans officer, we can instantly respond. And let me just say that if you have any other questions, because I know that there may be others, feel free you can channel the questions through your credit union manager, like Mrs. Isaac, for example, or I know that there are some other credit union managers here who I know and who have my email address. You can always channel your questions to them as well. But have I answered your question? Yeah, okay.
Any other questions? Yes? We want the entire audience to hear you, so I'll stand up.
This question is for Mr. Benjamin. Can you inform the members as to how far back the Credit Bureau would be sourcing data on individual members? So for instance, if I decide to come for a loan and there is the search on me, how far back would the lender be able to access data on me as it pertains to historical data?
Yes, so we would accept data up to 7 years back if institutions have it, but 12 months is perhaps that happy medium. Many institutions are able to provide up to at least 12 months data. We would need that, especially for the credit score, to be able to provide a accurate credit score. We would need at least 6 to 12 months of data. but the legislation allows us to go back to up to 7 years if that data is available.
Any other questions? I know it's 9:30. I see one at the end here.
Thank you. Just a little comment on the credit bureau. One of the things we shared with our movement is that the introduction of a credit bureau removes what we call a bullseye on your membership. Because when you send a member with this paper, like we do in Dominica, we send them with 12, 13 paper, and they go around to all of the financial institutions to get the data. It signals to the other financial institution that as a potential client. And so what they do, they begin to poach. They say, you know, you went to SLTC, come to us. What is it you want? We can fix you up. And that member, instead of coming back with the reports, they come with a check. You know what I'm saying? They come back with a check to pay you off. But now what it does, it levels, and I'm not pulling a plug for Colin, is because we believe in this and that's why we've been supporting it. It's because now it levels the playing field. So small and large financial institutions will all have the same possibilities of pulling the exact same data on the data subjects at the same time. So the other credit unions and other banks would not know when SLTC pulls the data on you. So that removes the bullseye from you. So from the credit union perspective, it gives you that extra leverage to hold on to your member. Not for long, but at least until such time.
Thank you so much for that. Anybody else? Yes, go ahead.
Good evening. I was just in discussion with somebody, and one of the things we were talking about is that in the States, we know that even if you have cash, a lot of places ask that you come with credit. They don't take any cash from you at all. I know of family members who had to go and get a credit card and do all of these things to be able to purchase things there. Is that the direction you think that you will be going? Is that the intention, that if somebody comes with cash that we were just going to put it on the side? I'm just wondering or asking.
Question for you? Just joking. No, but that question is probably better addressed to the central bank. I don't think that that is the intention. The intention really is to ensure that this financial ecosystem is stabilized in such a way that there's risk-based lending, and that institutions within the region are able to grow their portfolio, their loan portfolio, and expand the economy, and not necessarily push people into a cashless society. That's a different subject matter. I know that there's a lot of talk about the digital economy and cashless society, but I don't think that is the intention. But I can't really speak for the central bank.
If I can just follow up on that question, one of the things I understand, again, I was a student in the US, you're encouraged to do that because then it gives you a credit score. Like if you use cash, there's not always tracking. So you're encouraged to do things like that so that you can build a credit score. So I think she's asking, is that the direction? If you want to create a credit score, is that what you will be encouraged to do in our area?
Well, yes, that would definitely help you to create a credit score if you have a credit card and if you take a loan out. So that definitely, that would help you to create a score.
Thank you. This is a question.
I don't want to leave Omar out of the questions. Nobody
you can, you know, it's fine, it's fine.
We spoke about returns on the mutual fund, and as budding investors, I mean, that's your motivation. So what sort of returns does the mutual fund that you manage offer?
Yeah, so thanks for the question, Celestine. Typically, so our mutual fund is a balanced fund. We invest in international stocks, international fixed income, some regional fixed income as well, right? Typically, a balanced fund like ours would more or less create diversity by investing in a number of assets, right? So with mutual funds on the conservative end, you have fixed income funds, which would invest in fixed income securities, which tend to be, they tend to provide a lower risk proposition, right? But they pay a lower return. On the higher end, you have growth funds, which take positions in equities and ETFs, more aggressive assets, right? These pay a higher level of return. And our fund is right smack dab in the middle, providing a moderate level of risk, right? So it's above market. So I can say with pride that year to date, we've actually returned, as at yesterday, 12.25%, right, year to date. And that's what the market has given us. The assets that we've invested in, that's what they've returned. It's important for me to say that past performance is no indicator of the future, but that's what we've earned year to date. It's also important to understand that because we invested in international markets, where the price move every day, there is a level of volatility, but it's not as extreme as if you were invested in a growth fund or if you took a position in a single name, right? So overall, the fluctuations tick up and down, but the overall trend in arrow is upwards. So you'd find over time, because a balanced fund, a mutual fund like ours is a medium to long-term investment, we say you want to stay in there for as long as you can. You do have the flexibility to sell anytime, right? You sell your shares back to the fund. So it's a liquid fund. But to really feel the benefit, you want to stay in for a good period of time. Don't try to time the market. Spend time in the market, right? And you'll really see returns over time. So we've done what I believe is well so far. And we're going to continue to strive to deliver those returns while managing the portfolio and mitigating against market risk to ensure that there isn't much fluctuation. So these have been the returns year to date.
Thank you so much for that question, Celestine. Gentlemen, I will give you an opportunity to say some final words before we close off. Mr. Benjamin?
Well, once again, I want to thank you and to thank the SLTCC for inviting me here. I know that there are many questions that you may have. I'll be around afterwards. You feel free to approach me and engage me. Be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And it's really important that we understand that it's not like switching a light on, that the credit bureau platform then becomes operational. We need as many institutions as possible to onboard. So encourage your sister credit unions and other financial organizations to onboard so that the credit reporting data now can be valuable to you. And so that is what I would encourage the membership here to do, and the SLTCC and any other credit unions that are here. But I just want to end again by saying a very warm thank you for welcoming me so warmly to St. Lucia.
Thank you. And Mr. Birch-Smith?
So yeah, I'd like to thank the SLTCC again for inviting me this evening. I think right now the financial services sector is at a critical, exciting juncture. We have a lot of innovation, the Credit Bureau being one of them. I think what a lot of people may fail to understand is that having large cash balances or high amounts of liquidity is a good thing. It's actually not. We need to get that liquidity to work. We need to get productive capital back to work. So I applaud the work that Colin and his team are doing. Likewise, we also need to convert some of that excess cash to investing so that it can work for you. The threat of losing value of your money is real if you're simply in savings. And what I've found is that a lot of people want to get started and they want to do more, but there's a level of intimidation. So I encourage you to reach out to me, reach out to, well, Gail is in the room from First Citizens. You could reach out to the other licensed brokers in St. Lucia and just have a conversation on how you can get started, because really the time is now, right? Your biggest asset is time when investing. A lot of people think, well, I need to hit a certain amount, then I can start investing. No, you need to start now. You need to start now, give yourself time, allow compounding to play its role. Compounding is a fancy word for interest on interest, and you'd be surprised the difference time plays in that. So reach out to me. You could check out our website, shameless plug, utcgbfl.com, and you can get further details on the fund. But I'm around, and you can have a conversation with me. So I'd like to thank you. Hopefully you invite me again next year. Not necessarily to speak, but to enjoy the fete you're about to have.
True Lucian talk there. And shameless plug, we did invite you. You were specially invited from UTC, so that is a plug from the SLTCC to its membership that this is an institution that you can look forward to in terms of investing. Gentlemen, we really want to thank you for your time here. Like I said, Mr. Benjamin, on short notice, you flew from Antigua to be here with us, and we have to be warm for that. So I would like to invite the president of the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative to make a special presentation to you, and the second vice president to make a presentation to Mr. Bert Smith. And a round of applause for both of them once again, audience. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hand you back now to your master and mistress of ceremony.
Thank you again, gentlemen. Very, very informative. Round of applause for our speakers. Also to our cooperative, very forward thinking. So let's give it up for those who put together that presentation. Very forward thinking. Bob Marley said, one good thing about music. Now, because it's music, we are not going to say it, right? So we are going to attempt to sing it together, right? So I'll start and you'll join me, and I need to hear those voices. So we need to wake up. One good thing about music. Yeah, one good thing about music. All right, let's welcome Mr. Imber Placid to hit us with a musical performance.
Yo, SLTCC, can I see your hands up in there if you're having a good time tonight? Nah, show your hands in the air like this. Go so, say blessed, I blessed. Say blessed, I blessed. Say blessed, I blessed. I wanna hear you sing. Say I'm jamming till the morning, nothing can stress me. I blessed, I blessed. I blessed, I pull it up, man. Hold on. Let me try that again. Hold on. You came to have a good time tonight, right? If you came to have a good time tonight, say I. Show your hands in the air, so. Up, so. Blessed, I blessed. Pump it up. Blessed, I blessed. Hands up. Say I'm blessed, I blessed. That's it, sir. Say I'm jamming till the morning. Nothing can stress me. I blessed, I blessed. I blessed. And when bad man feel the blight me, Jah right beside me. I blessed. Listen. When people go low, we going high. And not letting down. The limit is the sky. You didn't know I was a seed when you tried to bury me. No, you didn't know. If you in your seat, I just want you to rock with me to the beat like so. Now I'm moving on. Say I'm moving on with the flow. Say life goes on. Something's gonna let you go. So carry on. I'll do what for you, not for show, but mine you'll never out my glow. I'm telling you that I jamming till the morning. Nothing can stress me. Why? I blessed, I blessed. I want to hear you sing it out, come on. And when bad man feel the blight me, Jah right beside me. Sing, I blessed, I blessed. Very simple, right? One more time, sing. Say I jamming till the morning. And nothing can stress me. I blessed, I blessed. I blessed, I blessed. Now we came to have a good time. If you feeling blessed, show me 2 hands up in the air like so. And everybody from the front to the back, we're gonna clap. 1, 2, 3, start to clap now. Keep it so. Keep it. Step forward. Come on. Say, everybody, it's time to get up and start moving. Leaving all your problems behind here. We pressing on to our victory. Yeah, man, listen. I woke up this morning and I'm feeling nice. But the path that I chose comes with battles to fight. As long as your future is. And where I am, just dust off your shoulder for me. All your weight on your shoulder, all your problems behind you. If you fall up, get up and get ahead of the dirt. And when they try to mind you and they're talking behind you, one more time, everybody, show me 2 hands up. Do this sign for me. Let me go, everybody. It's time to get up and start moving. Leaving all your problems behind you. We're pressing on to our victory. Oh, step your feet now, so. Let me go. Say, a step forward. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Cardo. Embert Placid. Do have a wonderful night. Enjoy the rest. SLTCC, somebody make some noise.
Very good. Excellent performance. That sure livened up the atmosphere. So at this point now, let me see if I can borrow a page from my co-MC here. One good thing about a vote of thanks. I'd like to invite Ms. Rochelle Victor to deliver the vote of thanks.
Esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, one world through cooperative finance. What a relevant and timely theme. We can all agree that this evening's ceremony was an insightful and engaging one. And for this, we must say thanks to everyone who made it a success. This year, the program was refreshingly different. And to the Education Committee, we must express sincere gratitude for your exceptional effort and creativity in orchestrating this evening's event. Your dedication and collaboration were instrumental, and we deeply appreciate the time and energy you devoted to this endeavor. Thank you, Ms. Laura Joseph, for interceding on our behalf, setting a reflective tone for our gathering. We will warmly welcome this evening Mrs. Shanna Isaac, General Manager of the St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative. To you, we say thanks a million for the cordial reception this evening and your usual support in cooperative finance. Your leadership inspires us all. The panel discussion format fostered an atmosphere of open interaction and assisted in providing us with a deeper understanding of the important topic of cooperative finance. Guest speakers, Mr. Omar Burt-Smith, Investment Manager of UTC Fund Management Services, and Mr. Collins Benjamin, Head of Business Development of Everydata ECU Limited. To you, we express special thanks for sharing your invaluable insights. Your expertise has sparked important conversations that will surely influence our future efforts. We now have a better understanding of the need for the Credit Bureau, the allocation of credit scores, as well as the importance of investment alongside savings. Mrs. Natalie Jolie Fannis, we acknowledge you for your excellent moderation of the discussion. Your facilitation of meaningful dialogue greatly enhanced our understanding of the topic at hand. Mr. Peter Louisi, thank you for the grand La Marguerite entrance. With your thought-provoking presidential address, you set a foundation for our discussion tonight. We are truly grateful for your continued dedication. Unity is strength. We are therefore forever grateful to share this moment with our partner organization. We thank you for those who sent fraternal greetings from various organizational bodies. Your support reinforced the spirit of cooperative which we aim to cultivate. This evening, we had the privilege of enjoying an educational and entertaining program. We express our immense gratitude to all who shared their talents so willingly. Mr. Greaves, we appreciate your exquisite rendition of the national anthem, providing a poignant opening to our evening. Thank you very much. Mr. Imbad Placid, our outstanding educator and calypsonian, we are grateful for your engaging performance, which brought joy to the audience. Mr. Sam Udovic, merci beaucoup. Your powerful spoken words piece resonated with the theme of our evening and brought emotional depth to the discussion. We are grateful. We say a special thanks to the President and Second Vice President for presenting tokens of appreciation to our guest speakers. Your gestures reflect our gratitude for their contribution. Special thanks to our General Manager, Deputy General Manager, Mrs. Biscom, and staff for all the assistance and support both prior to the event and today. We can't forget the technical team for their services provided today. Thank you very much. To the Decoration Committee, thank you for the aesthetic appeal. Job well done. To all those who prepared the refreshments, which we will partake of, we say thank you in advance. Our MCs, you have not been forgotten. I would like to recognize our dynamic MCs for taking the program through so smoothly. Mr. Neil Fontenelle and Mrs. Nedra Dantes Charles. Your professionalism and charisma have greatly enriched our program and kept the audience engaged. You have so willingly accepted to do this for a few years now, and for this we would like to present you with a small token of appreciation. I call upon Ms. Fleur Jean-Baptiste to make a presentation to our MCs. Thank you, MCs, for agreeing to do this for so many years. I hope this comes as a pleasant surprise to you, and we hope that you will willingly agree to do so once again. Miss Lucien, we thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. Thank you very much for your melodious rendition. To you, dear audience, thank you for coming. Your engagement and enthusiasm have been truly inspiring. Let us collectively harness the knowledge and insight gained tonight as we strive towards a more interconnected world through cooperative finance. Thank you once again. I bid you a good night. Safe travels, everyone. I thank you.